Hi, my name is Steven Stark, and I am a full-time musician and music educator, and this is my origin story. Part 1, how I became a string player. I'm telling you this because my origin story is so exceptionally interesting? No, it's more because everybody's are pretty interesting. Growing up, my mother was a musician, wonderful pianist, singer, always sang in church. We were singing all the time, listening to music. That's the way it was. That music was very valued in my household. And when I got to be 6 years old, she told me I was going to take piano lessons. And I said, I don't want to do that. And she said, you have to give me 1 year. And after 1 year, if you want to quit, you can. So I took piano lessons. And I think this is the part of the story where people think I'll say, oh, and I loved it and I stuck with it. No, I didn't like it. So I quit. Although I would say that 1 year was very vital for my development as a musician later on. And even though I quit, we had a piano in our house, which is so lucky. And again, a household that valued music. And my brother and I had access to that piano, and he and I would both mess around on it all the time as kids. Now, a few years later, when I was 11, the high school band and orchestra came to play for our elementary school to see if all of us might be interested in joining one or the other. I remember really liking the band, but I particularly liked the sound of the low strings in the orchestra. Now, despite this, when it came time to sign up, I saw most people signing up for band, and I thought, well, maybe band is cooler, so I signed up for band. When the day came for the first meeting, where you left your elementary school class and either went to band or you went to orchestra for a period of time during the day, I looked around, and when the band director walked in, about 100 kids stood up to go with him. And when I looked at him, he was probably about the age I am now. He had glasses, kind of a droopy expression. And then they called for the orchestra kids, and instead of 100, there was only about 14 or 15 kids who stood up. And they went to the orchestra teacher, and I looked over and I saw her, and it was her first year teaching out of college, and she had blonde hair down to here, and she had a very bright, lively face. And I did a quick calculation of where I'd rather be. And I ran up to my teacher's desk, I grabbed my sign-up sheet, I erased band right there, circled orchestra instead, turned it back in, and I went with the orchestra kids. I chose the viola, and after about a month of trying to hold it and trying to ride my bike to and from school carrying the viola, I looked and I saw my friend Chris was playing the cello, and he got to sit down, and it was so big, there's no way I could ride my bike to and from school, so my parents were going to have to drive me. So I switched to the cello, and I enjoyed it. And I played it in 6th grade, and I played it in 7th grade, and at the end of 7th grade, that same teacher asked me, are you signing up for orchestra next year? And I said, I don't know, I like orchestra, but I'm thinking about doing choir next year. And she took my sign-up sheet from me, erased choir, circled orchestra, and said, no, you're not. You're staying in orchestra. And I thought, well, if she cares that much, okay. That next year in 8th grade, that's when it hit me. That's when it really hit me deep. And I knew I was going to stay in orchestra. Part 2 coming soon.